Today, we are joined by Montgomery County Police Department's Commander, Jason Cokinos, to share information about ongoing efforts that have led to decreased crime in downtown Silver Spring. Reporters, if you still need permission to record, please note that in the chat. And if you have any questions throughout this briefing, you can note that in the chat or you can raise your hand and I will call on you accordingly. Now I'll go ahead and toss it to Council President Kate Stewart for opening remarks. Council President, to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jordan, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to begin with a discussion of important matters regarding public safety in our community. Joining us, as Jordan mentioned, I'm honored to introduce a dedicated and highly respected member of our police department here in Montgomery County. We have 3rd District Commander Jason Cokinos. Commander Cokinos has not only been a steadfast supporter of new initiatives aimed at improving public safety, but he's also a driving force behind many of the positive changes that we've seen in the 3rd District and across the county today. Our police force has been at the forefront of new crime prevention strategies, advancing community policing efforts, and introducing cutting-edge technology to keep our residents safe. Commander Cokinos will walk us through a couple of these efforts today and be available for questions. Commander Cokinos, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Council President Stewart. Thanks for having me on. It's good to talk about some stuff that is going on. And even over the weekend, we've had some more encouraging news as I just got our 2025 first quarter numbers that are coming in for downtown Silver Spring. So basically, I mean, everyone I think knows 2022, 2023, we experienced a higher than what we wanted crime rate, a violent period of time, and different things going on in Silver Spring, particularly the downtown. And what we had found when I arrived in Silver Spring last July was then Commander McBain, who I replaced, had begun a series of initiatives, and then basically I took that and built upon that, and we've been really working hard since then. I'll talk a little bit about those initiatives here in a moment. But what we found at the end of 2024 was some good news from a variety of things that we've been doing. We've had major reductions in violent crime, major reductions in shootings and robberies. We've had reductions in homicides, significant reductions in carjackings, and things of that nature. So very good changes for 2024. As we move into the first quarter of 2025, we're seeing continued reductions. Robberies are down compared to this time in 2024. Now, I say that because 24, we knew we had a decline, right? So now in 25, we're seeing an even further decline compared to 24 so far. Robberies down 30% compared to 2024. We've had no contact shootings in downtown Silver Spring, no homicides in downtown Silver Spring. Our carjackings were already significantly reduced, are even further reduced. So our violent crime is really heading in the right direction. The job's not done. But what we want to get out is that people should feel safe and comfortable to come to dinner, come out, go to Fillmore, go to AFI Theater, come see our businesses. Now, how did we get there? I will tell you that it was not just the police. This has been what I would call a whole of government team effort. So obviously, even you, Council President, with the late night safety bill, we were having tremendous amounts of calls for service, violence, fights, shootings in the middle of the night because of establishments being open till 4 or 5 in the morning. With that bill, the late night safety bill, we've had very little late night violence and fights and things of that nature. So significant improvement there. We're partnering with, a lot of different departments like Department of Transportation. Department of Transportation, they obviously oversee all of our parking garages. There's security patrols that they engage in, technology, cameras, different things. We partner with them. Health and Human Services, a lot of our issues downtown. We have obviously folks that are coming from out of Montgomery County to commit crime. We also have folks in our unhoused community that are find themselves involved in crime for various reasons. So we partner with Health and Human Services because not everybody we interact with needs to go to jail. If we can solve an issue that's going on in someone's life, we can remove them from the situation that's causing them to commit crime. So this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's very precision. I would say it's a scalpel, very precise based on each individual issue we have going on. And we partner with different agencies and departments to work on each issue. Obviously, the county executive and all of our council has been very supportive, to include the Chamber of Commerce and many other partners. But the police are doing a number of things. One, we have a number of different initiatives going on with technology. Our drone as first responder has been huge for downtown Silver Spring. The amount of calls that it's responding to in such short times. We're getting overhead while crimes are still in progress. We're catching people in the act with the drone, and we're getting people held accountable. We've had convictions. We had, as many of you reported, a stabbing that occurred at Georgia and Sligo Avenue that was captured on the drone footage that was used in a jury trial. We're using our real-time intelligence center. We have analysts that are working with not only public cameras, but shared cameras from our businesses to, when a crime happens, when an emergency call happens, to try to get on those cameras and direct officers in. So we have some of those tech initiatives. We have deployed plainclothes officers in everyday cars and everyday clothing. They're out there blending in with our public, looking for criminal activity, trying to intercept crime. We've had success where we've had folks that we had a subject that attempted to rob someone on the street, and our plainclothes officers observed that. Luckily, it was an unsuccessful robbery. The victim ran away, but those surveillance officers were then able to take action and apprehend that violent offender before more people could be victimized. We have a number of uniformed initiatives. Our central business district team is dedicated to our retail theft and partnering with businesses. We've been working very hard to attack retail theft and other crimes, quality of life crimes around our businesses. We also deploy our patrol officers now. We have initiatives where we're directed patrol at certain locations for high visibility and community engagement. So really, there is no stone being left unturned, if you will. We're using everything we can to attack the problem. We're seeing great results, and we're going to keep doing those things and partnering with everybody.
Great. Thank you, Commander Cokinos. If you could speak to a moment on the security cam program that is in place and the public comment portal that just opened.
Yeah, so I'll start with the cameras. So again, I talked about a real-time intelligence center and the technology that we're doing. So right now we're seeking, the camera program is two different kind of areas. One is for folks that have residential cameras, our residential neighborhoods. They can register those cameras with the police department. We cannot access them. We don't watch them. But if something happens, we can send an email blast out to everyone who's registered their camera, asking them to check their footage. It's all voluntary. And if they would like to share with us, obviously they have the ability to do that. The other piece we're looking to do is partner with our commercial businesses, apartment complexes, things like that, that actually what we're calling camera integration. And all of this is on our website, mococonnect.org, mococonnect.org. And what that does is the businesses can share their camera feeds, we only want, really care about the exterior that are facing our public areas. They can share our feeds. So when an emergency happens, our analysts can pull those cameras up real time and get information to share with officers. We have had a lot of success with that so far. Many cases that have proven that if it wasn't for our real-time intelligence center, I don't know if we would have closed them as quickly or at all. They comb through hours of video and they identify. We had a burglary where a suspect touched the glass with their bare hand. And the real-time intelligence center went back, watched all this video and caught that glimpse, that 1 second, and said, "Hey, detective, check for fingerprints right here." And sure, there was fingerprints there. So we're working through that, but we're encouraging businesses and the community, business community, and other exterior cameras that can be shared to share with us. And we have a whole bunch of information on that and how that goes down. The comment portal, this is very exciting. So we kind of unofficially started this with our Drone as First Responder program through our community town halls. And what we got was community feedback on policies, procedures, guardrails, different things like that, that if you look at our drone policy, there are things in that policy that came from community suggestions. And it was a very positive experience. So what we've done is we've rolled that out for all of our policies. So if you go to our website, on our homepage, there's an area where you can click review policies. So any policy that's under review at the police department, the public can go in, review that policy, and then provide thoughts, feedback, opinions that we then can review internally and say, you know what, Sam from Silver Spring had a really great idea here. Like, let's see how we can factor that in. So we're going to take the feedback from the community and see how we can potentially embed that into some of our policies. I can't guarantee that every single piece of feedback we get from folks are going to automatically be in the policy, but there are a lot of good things that the community has to say that gets us thinking.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Commander Cokinos. And I know that whole process when we were doing the Drone as First Responder program, that pilot was very beneficial to the community as we're looking at our public safety policies and procedures, making sure that we're also recognizing and protecting people's privacies and civil liberties are very important. Jordan, I'll turn it back to you so we can see if anyone has questions for Commander Cokinos.
Great. Thank you so much, Council President Stewart. Reporters, if you have any questions regarding Commander Cokinos and what we were just talked about, please go ahead and note that in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I will call on you accordingly. Up first, I see Kate Ryan with WTOP. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for this. Again, if I can get just a sense of any concerns that have been brought directly to you, to the department, and slightly off topic, are you seeing any impact of concerns about ICE operations and immigration policies within the community? And I ask that because I know Montgomery County has made extended efforts to reach out to immigrant communities historically to help address their concerns with crime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to answer from my angle and then let anyone else chime in. So we have done, we've been doing for years, extensive community engagement in some of our neighborhoods that have folks that may not be documented in the United States. Our policy and procedure is the same. We treat everybody with the same level of service. Montgomery County Police is not going to a scene demanding immigration status paperwork or asking people what their status is. That's not a Montgomery County Police function. There may be things that the federal government does, and obviously sometimes we don't even know about it. If there may be an ICE operation that's taking place, we're not always told about it. But I was just recently in our Long Branch area. We did a big community meeting and we talked about this. And I was actually surprised by many people that were there who were comfortable talking with us, Montgomery County police officers. We had a number of us there, and they said that they do feel comfortable talking to us. Now, I can't say that's everybody. So what we're reiterating is the fact that we need people to continue to report crime if they're victims, things of that nature. We're not going to call ICE on somebody. We're not going to go to your house and start asking you your status. So people should feel safe to work with the Montgomery County Police Department on that aspect. Council President, I don't know if you have anything on that before me.
Thanks. And thanks, Kate. Thank you for the question. And, thank you, Commander Cokinos. And I think you're right. Here in Montgomery County, we have been stressing for years the importance of building trust with all the members of our community and our police department. And we feel very strongly here that our local police department does not enforce federal immigration laws because we want to continue that trust with the community. We want to make sure people who are victims of domestic violence or experiencing crime themselves, feel safe calling our police department and getting assistance. This is important for individuals' own safety, for our immigrant community, but I feel strongly that this is important for public safety across our entire community.
Got it. And one quick follow-up, if I could. I was at an event in DC the other day. Mayor Bowser announced a juvenile investigative unit that's really going to focus on crime within that demographic. Overall, they say crime is down in DC, but there are pockets where juvenile crime is very high. For example, carjackings. Can you give me an idea of where things stand in Montgomery County right now in terms of juvenile crime as related to the overall picture?
Yeah, I can speak for obviously Silver Spring area. Juvenile crime is a lot of our incidents are involving juveniles. I would say that this whole juvenile situation is very complex because we can't just lock up every kid and put them in jail. That's not the answer to the problem. I mean, there's some kids that potentially need to be detained because they're very violent, but we can't just take every kid and think that's going to solve the problem by putting them in jail. Yeah, our street robberies, our carjackings, our auto thefts, our theft from autos, we have unreasonably high numbers of juveniles that are involved in those crimes. And that's what we're seeing in Montgomery County as well. So the juvenile problem spans across the whole region. I would say even potentially our whole state. I've read articles in Baltimore City as well, speaking about juvenile related crime and violent crime and different things of that nature. So we're seeing juveniles crime in particular in Silver Spring. Our juveniles aren't always Montgomery County juveniles. Last night we had an incident where juveniles came from the District of Columbia to frequent the downtown Silver Spring area, and there was an altercation that took place. So we, being a what we call a kind of we share a border with our regional neighbors, right? Prince George's and DC. We get a lot of crime from folks that live in different parts of our region. So if DC is going to take measures to improve the juvenile crime situation, we think that will positively impact us as well. But we also have things to do locally with our own kids.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate Ryan. Up next, we have a question from Talia Varela with Univision. She's asking about what's being done to reduce crimes, how it's worked, what needs to be done. Talia will ask the question in English. Council President Stewart and our Commander Cokinos will answer in English. And then we have my colleague Marcela Rodriguez here on the call to interpret the answer in Spanish. Talia, I'll toss it to you for your questions. Talia Varela.
Yes, thank you so much for taking my questions. The first one is, you mentioned the crimes that have decreased. Which ones have increased?
So we are right now in the downtown area in particular. There are, we finished 2024 with retail theft increased. Now I'm happy to report that so far in 2025, we are starting to see a decrease because we've heavily focused on this problem. The one area that has increased in 2024, and we're still seeing it more than I want it to be, is car break-ins, so our theft from autos, and stolen vehicles, particularly in and around our garages downtown. So we have partnered with the Department of Transportation. They've upgraded a lot of their cameras. We have a partnership between our investigators and folks that work at DOT. And then also starting this past week, as I publicized, we are having extra patrols, police officer patrols in a lot of these garages, both in our evening hours for folks to just come to dinner and do stuff, but in the overnight hours, targeting people breaking into cars and things of that nature. So we're encouraging our community visitors and residents, lock your doors, don't leave valuables in your car, things of that nature. So just to recap, retail theft up at the end of 2024. It's still up compared to a 5-year analysis, but we're starting to see progress in 25. Auto theft and theft from autos is up, and we need to focus on that.
Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and toss it to my colleague Marcela Rodriguez to interpret that portion of what was answered.
Thank you, Jordan. Talía, lo que el comandante Jason Cokinos nos acaba de informar es que se está trabajando arduamente, luchando para que los crímenes estén bajando. Se ha contabilizado un descenso en algunos crímenes. Sin embargo, hay otras áreas donde se continúa trabajando para mejorar esos números. Por ejemplo, algo de que sigue siendo un factor de lucha es la lucha contra los robos en los negocios, por ejemplo, en los negocios de ropa, también los robos de autos y robos en los autos. Por lo tanto, se está trabajando y colaborando directamente con el Departamento de Transportación del Condado de Montgomery para incrementar el patrullaje, sobre todo en las zonas de los estacionamientos, en los garajes, en Silver Spring, en horas de la noche, sobre todo, para continuar de tratar de disminuir esos números. Al mismo tiempo, estos números se están analizando en un lapso de 5 años, por lo tanto, continúan esas cifras un poco altas. Sin embargo, se va contabilizando un poco de mejoramiento en esas áreas.
Great, thank you. Talia, is that all the questions you have today?
I have one more.
Okay.
One more, and also if I can get a list of the stats, or the numbers.
Yes.
The question is, and it was already answered in English, so I don't know if we want to answer it again in English or Marcela can just answer it in Spanish. But the question is, when it comes to ICE and the community, I have been involved with the community every single day, and I have heard that they are in fear because of the whole ICE situation, especially our Latino immigrant community. So is that something that the department is noticing? Is that contributing to the community not calling the police or reporting any crimes? What's your intake when it comes to that?
So it's hard to tell. We're trying to continue to do community engagement in those neighborhoods to reassure people that they can work with Montgomery County Police. They don't have to fear us. We're not calling ICE on them. We're not even going to ask what their status is. We don't care. If you're a victim, if you live in our community, we're going to provide the same service, whether you're documented or not. It doesn't matter. It's not even a factor in our decision-making process. So we need to keep doing that, keep engaging that. For me to say some people have said they feel comfortable working with us, it's not lost on me that a majority of people may not feel comfortable working with us. So we have a lot of work to do on continuous engagement. But people, it's not something we can stop trying to improve our relationship with those neighborhoods. But we need to do it, and we need people to work with us. Are people not reporting crime? So we look at what's called our Henry sector. That is the sector within Silver Spring that covers our Piney Branch, Flower Avenue, a lot of our Spanish-speaking community. And we look at crime data and calls for service there. People are still calling us. We have seen some crime declines in certain categories. Whether that's from underreporting or other efforts that we've taken, it's a little hard to tell. I'm not really sure. It might be a little bit of both. We may have people reporting less, as of late because of the increased ICE operations. We're not totally sure.
Bueno, de acuerdo al Departamento de Montgomery, el alcance comunitario es esencial para continuar llevando el mensaje que la policía continuará dando el servicio a todos los individuos sin importar de su estatus migratorio. Por lo tanto, hace un llamado a todos los residentes a que no tengan miedo, a que si tienen que reportar algún crimen, que lo hagan. Y sí también comparten que en las zonas de Piney Branch, Flower Avenue, donde son zonas altamente con población hispana, siguen recibiendo llamadas cuando reportan los crímenes. Sin embargo, es importante destacar de que se reporta un descenso en algunos crímenes. Eso sí, que no se puede decir con exactitud si esto se debe a por temores por la situación en estos momentos con agencias federales o porque en realidad los crímenes están bajando. Gracias.
And Jordan, if I could just jump in and say, in addition to what Commander Coquino said, is that our police department and our county government also works very closely with many of our nonprofit and faith organization in our communities to make sure that we are also getting resources out to members of our community who are afraid. We completely understand that some folks are not going to feel comfortable going to our police department, but we want to make sure that there are other outlets for them and available to them.
Y bueno, lo que la presidenta del Consejo, Kate Stewart, acaba de mencionar es que también autoridades locales del Consejo están trabajando directamente con agencias sin fines de lucro, organizaciones religiosas, para que los individuos se sientan un poco más de tranquilidad. Sabemos que en estos momentos pues hay un poco de temor por la situación dada al nivel federal, pero queremos que todos los residentes se sientan seguros en las diversas áreas, ya sea en el área de en las organizaciones religiosas. Thank you.
And if I could chime in real quick, I have an X account at MCPD 3D Commander. I just posted over the weekend some of those preliminary numbers from 2025. So if you want them more rapidly, they're available right now online. And obviously we've already done our releases on the 2024 numbers, but if someone needs those again, we can provide those.
Great. Thank you so much. Up next, I saw we had a question from Kevon Dupree with DC News Now. Kevon, did you still have a question? I saw you had your hand raised there.
Yes, his previous answer answered my question, so I lowered my hand.
Great, thank you so much. Up next is Ethan Therian with MyMCM. Ethan, you have a question with Commander Cokinos?
Yes, I do. I'm with Montgomery Community Media. So the police department has said that they will be encrypting all police transmissions in the near future, and they've said that that follows national best practices. Could you explain what that means?
Yeah, there's been a lot of agencies across the nation that have moved to encryption. Basically, right now, when your radio is unencrypted, anyone can go to an app like Open MHZ, right? It's basically scanners. People can listen to radio communications on scanners. I believe the agency is still working through some of the specifics of this plan, but at a higher level, the switching our radio dispatch channels to encrypted would make it so the scanners and different apps would not be able to broadcast those radio transmissions. Couple of reasons behind that that were released in our press release previously was to protect victims' information, phone numbers, names of folks that call 911. We run a lot of mental health calls for service to protect individuals that, we don't want. One thing we want to prevent is, oh, my neighbor, the police were just there because their son had a mental health crisis, and now there's certain feelings or the way that people look at other people in a negative light when we want to try to prevent those things from happening, people's personal information. And then also from an officer safety and standpoint is, there have been cases nationally where the criminal element has accessed these apps to use them while engaged in crime. So those are some of the reasons that agencies go to encryption. I do believe that the agency is still working through policies and stuff. I would defer to obviously our PIO and others about the specifics on how that's going to work.
And I have a follow-up or two, if you don't mind. Have any considerations been made to allowing public access to transmissions, but with a delay, similar to what the Baltimore Police Department does?
Yeah, so I read an article the other day where I think Earl Stoddard had brought something like that up. I'm not directly involved in those decisions. I know that those technologies do exist. Obviously, I would defer that question to the police department's PIO and the county executive's office. That's a decision that will come out of their headquarters.
Sure. And then one last one, if you don't mind. What would you say to people who worry that move might negatively impact transparency?
I think that it's a conversation that needs to happen. Again, I'm not involved in the decision. I think that the intentions of encryption are coming from a good place. We're not trying to cover anything up or shield the media or the public from the oversight or transparency that we've preached for years. I think that this is coming from a good place of the protection of victims and mental health and other things like that. I think that the discussions are still ongoing, and I think that hopefully, for anyone here that would refer that question to the PIO about, is there going to be media access of some kind? Last time I talked with Dr. Stoddard, I think they were still trying to work that out, but it's a good question to ask.
Great. Thank you, Ethan. Just for reference purposes, if you look in the chat, there's crime reduction seen in downtown Silver Spring info, MCPD press release that was released with more information. Reporters, you can find that there in the chat. Up next, we have Judith Cruz with Greater Alney News. Good morning, Judy.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Commander, I'm just wondering, with all of these programs and efforts that you have in place, if you have a time when you will not do those programs anymore, in other words, will there ever be a threshold of how low the crime will get that you'll say, I think we've done enough of those programs, let's try something else? Or will these be continued forever?
I mean, I think I'd love to get to a place where the crime's low enough that we all can drink lemonade and hang out. So here's what we're doing now. Because the thing that, and the real thing that I need to watch out for is burnout, right? We're already at a staffing crisis. So we're putting extra officers, some on overtime, to different initiatives. And so can we keep those initiatives indefinitely? Realistically, no. But what we need to do is, and that's why I say we're being very precision focused. So we're looking routinely at our crime data, and based on trends and analysis, with everything's data driven, is where we're focusing our efforts. So if we see, for example, retail theft just really plummet to a place where, it's not perfect, but it's way better than it's been for the last 5 years, do we maybe come off of, we're not going to stop working with our businesses, but we may have to reassess whether we're dedicating officers to be inside of stores with staff engaging in these operations. So it's going to be, we're not going to give up, but we may be shifting based on data and trends. So.
Yeah, and I would just add, Judy, too, I think that has been the success of the last few years in our downtown Silver Spring business area is how much the police department has been looking at safety issues and how to put in place and respond as different things have occurred in our downtown area. And I would say programs like our Drone as First Responder have a number of benefits that we didn't get into today, though I know Commander Cokinos has in the past on helping provide information to our police officers so that we can also de-escalate situations. And we're also improving officer safety by providing them with more information before they get to a scene.
Great. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
some of those programs will continue, right? Drone as First Responder, like our plainclothes teams, like they're still going to exist. We may reassign assets to different parts of the district based on crime trends, but a lot of the resources and tools will exist. It's just where we use them and how long.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I see Kate Ryan with WTOP has another question that's related.
Yes.
Kate.
Thank you so much, Commander. You did mention that staffing shortages within the department. I don't know, it's a very early days yet, but are you seeing applications come in from displaced federal workers?
I think it's a little early to tell. I'm not sure where we stand on that. But obviously, if there's anyone out there that's looking for a job, we're hiring, whether you're a federal worker or not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate Ryan. Looks like those are all the questions we have for Commander Cokinos. I'll toss it back to Council President Stewart to follow.
Great. Oh, thank you, Jordan. I want to thank Commander Cokinos and his team, as well as all of the officers across Montgomery County who put their lives on the line every day to protect and serve our diverse community. I also want to encourage everyone to join the Montgomery County Chamber's 50th Annual Public Safety Awards on April 28th, so we can join together to uplift all the amazing work being done by our dedicated first responders. So Commander Cokinos, thank you for joining us this morning. And look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Great. All right, so on to a number of other topics. Tomorrow, the County Council will be taking up action on a number of items aimed at tackling the persistent issue of vacant commercial buildings. Office vacancy rates in Montgomery County remain an ongoing issue since the COVID-19 pandemic, and this issue is certainly not unique to Montgomery County. In 2023, the Council's Economic Development Committee received a report from stakeholders from the commercial real estate community, noting that there was a permanently diminished demand for existing office stock in the county. In the first quarter of this year, the office vacancy rate was 19%, which is higher than the average healthy vacancy rate of about 8 to 10%. This is nearly double the amount of vacant office space than in a healthy office market, which means we have a lot of vacant, underutilized office buildings. Furthermore, today's market conditions, given rents, wages, and the job market, had made it very difficult for commercial market to develop and for new constructions. With ongoing conversations about a possible future recession, especially given the administration's policy on tariffs, it's important now more than ever to create more options for development projects here in Montgomery County. We know there's no one-size-fits-all solution. However, it is the Council's responsibility to take policy actions that will increase our occupancy rates, not diminish them. So there are a number of items tomorrow that are aimed to do just that. The first one the Council is expected to vote on is ZTA, our zoning text amendment 25-01, self-storage, civic and institutional, also known as the Street Activation and Vacancy Elimination, or SAVE ZTA. I'm the lead sponsor of this ZTA, and it would encourage street activation in the county by allowing self-storage in certain highly vacant buildings while requiring the bottom floors to be used for a philanthropic purpose. The ZTA will permit self-storage units to be created in buildings that have been 90% vacant for at least 2 years. Any structural changes to the property under this new use would be limited to that, so that any future conversions to a residential or commercial use is not discouraged. The Council will also be voting on another ZTA, ZTA 25-30, the Expedited Approvals, Commercial to Residential Construction, and also SRA 25-02, Administrative Subdivision Expedited Approval Plan. Both of these measures will expedite approvals for moving from commercial to residential reconstruction and streamline adaptive reuse, so the regulatory process moves more swiftly and efficiently. In addition, we'll be taking up Bill 2-25, Taxation, Payments in lieu of taxes, affordable housing. That's also up for our discussion and vote tomorrow. This legislation establishes a minimum payment in lieu of taxes for certain conversions of high vacancy commercial properties to residential uses to encourage the creation of new housing units. This bill is expedited to align the timing with the zoning actions. Both the zoning measures and Bill 2-25 are part of the More Housing Now package led by Planning, Housing, and Parks Committee Chair Andrew Friedson and Economic Development Committee Chair Natalie Fana Gonzalez, and I am a co-sponsor of the bill and the zoning measures. With the high cost of housing creating financial challenges for working families and contributing to the stagnation of our economy, this package would help build more homes that are affordable to teachers, firefighters, police officers, biotech, and healthcare workers, and those striving to own a home. The three key goals of the overall package are to build more workforce housing, convert highly vacant office property to housing, and create pathways to home ownership. Also, an update on our United in Service and Support work. Our federal workers continue to experience unprecedented upheaval. and ongoing threats due to the current administration's irresponsible decisions and cruel actions. The reckless mass cuts to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Food and Drug Administration, and the National Institutes of Health's labor forces are an assault on science and will have dangerous long-term ramifications for Montgomery County and our nation. The Trump administration's decision to cut over 10,000 employees across Health and Human Services, including 3,500 jobs from the FDA, is a dramatic blow to our nation's most critical department and has directly impacted approximately 2,200 residents just last Tuesday. During our United in Service and Support community meeting last week, hosted by Councilmember Sales, the discussion focused on navigating new employment opportunities and career paths for federal workers. We were joined by representatives from Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, WorkSource Montgomery, and the Montgomery County Office of Human Resources. The speakers highlighted the Mobilize Montgomery initiative launched by the county, which provides centralized hub for career and training events taking place within the county and community resources. The council's next webinar will be held on Wednesday, April 23rd at 11:30 a.m. Just to underscore that, this one's at 11:30 a.m. and will be hosted by Councilmember Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. The topics will be Montgomery County's entrepreneurship ecosystem, business incubators, and opportunities for federal workers. Residents are encouraged to join via Zoom and watch on the council's YouTube channel. For more information about upcoming webinars and community resources, you can find that on the council's webpage. Jordan, I'm going to turn it back to you to see if anybody has any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Council President Stewart. Reporters, if you have any other additional questions regarding the remarks just made, note that in the chat or you can raise your hand. Any questions from reporters? Going once? Going twice? 3 times? Okay, back to you, Council President. Oh, actually, Kelly Lynn with WSA 9. I'm so sorry. I saw your hand. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, and I should have my name up on the screen with my affiliation, but I don't, and I'm sorry, but I am with Channel 7. This is, I'm probably breaking the rules. It's completely unrelated to what she was talking about. Should I just wait until the end and then you all will take my question?
This is the end, so you can go ahead.
This is the end. Good. Okay.
Kelly Lynn
All
with
right.
7. I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm just doing a follow-up on that Bill 325 that was unanimously approved by the council. Just wondering if you could speak to the importance of that and what you are hoping that that will accomplish for Montgomery County residents. That would be the homeowners supplement, the homeowners tax credit.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I was scrolling through my head. We had a number of bills pass last week on our council, and I just wanted to make sure I had the right number. So thank you very much. Yes, last week we passed unanimously the homeowners tax credit supplemental. And so our goal with this is to increase the eligibility for the supplemental property tax credit. This property tax credit is actually run by the state, but there's a piece of it that we also do here in Montgomery County. And we want to expand the number of people who are eligible for that. So we increased the household income limit up to $75,000. We also increased your net worth that you have from what the state has. And our goal in this is to make sure that people who are on a fixed income or who are lower income, to make it easier for them to pay their property taxes. We know assessments have gone up over the last few years, and this can be something that really impacts people on fixed incomes or lower income residents who own their home, but because it's increasing in value, it may be a bit more difficult for them to pay their property taxes each year. We also know here in Montgomery County that we're a bit more expensive than the rest of the state. So it's important for us to really look at how we do programs here in Montgomery County to make sure that those people who need the assistance are eligible for it. And so that's what we were doing last week with this HOTC supplemental.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. Reporters, if you have any other questions, going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, back to you, Council President. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. Appreciate everyone's time today and our ability to dig into some of our public safety initiatives. So look forward to talking to you again in the future.